The first thing that hit me wasn't the smell of disinfectant or the cold concrete under my shoes. It was the stillness, the kind that doesn't belong to a room, but to a soul that has learned staying invisible hurts less. My shepherd puppy tugged lightly at the leash, nails clicking with small, impatient sounds, his breath warm and fast with curiosity. He was all soft fur and unbroken faith, ears too big, eyes too alive. Then I saw him, curled tight against the far wall, ribs rising shallowly, eyes open but empty, like windows after a fire. The rescue didn't look up, didn't flinch, didn't register the new presence the way living things usually do. My puppy stepped forward anyway, tail wagging in cautious half-moons, offering himself without understanding the cost. I felt my chest tighten as if something inside me already knew this moment would change all of us. The light from the window cut across the floor and stopped just short of the rescue's paws. Like even the sun wasn't sure it was welcome. I held my breath, terrified that one small movement might shatter what little remained. I didn't know the word fear yet, but my body understood something wasn't right the moment my paws crossed the doorway. The air felt wrong. It wasn't loud or sharp. It was heavy, like breathing through wet clothes. My leash loosened as my human stopped walking, and I felt the paws ripple down into me. I lowered my head instinctively, nose twitching, reading the room the way puppies do, through scent and silence. The floor was cold, colder than the places I like to nap. It smelled like old water and sharp medicine, and underneath it all, something sour and tired, like hope that had been left too long in the dark. I took a step forward anyway. I always did. Curiosity pulled me ahead, even when my legs hesitated. My ears lifted, catching the faintest sounds, the hum of lights, a distant clang of metal, a breath that didn't belong to me. That's when I saw him. He was pressed into the corner so tightly it looked like he was trying to melt into the wall. His body was there, but everything else about him felt far away. His eyes were open, yet they didn't follow me. They didn't follow anything. I tilted my head, confused. Usually, when I entered a room, eyes found me. Hands reached, voices softened. This one didn't move at all. I wagged my tail just a little. It was a habit more than a choice, my way of saying hello to the world. The sound it made against my legs felt too loud in the quiet. Still, the rescue didn't react. No flinch, no blink. I took another step, careful this time, my paws placing themselves slowly like I was walking on thin ice. Something inside me said not to rush. I didn't know why, only that rushing felt wrong here. I sat down because sitting usually made things safer. I remembered that much already. When I sat, humans smiled. When I sat, the world seemed to breathe easier. My tongue slipped out as I panted lightly, trying to make the space friendlier. My chest rose and fell quickly, excitement mixing with uncertainty. I looked at him again. His fur was dull, like it hadn't felt sunlight in a long time. His body didn't curve naturally. It held tension in every line, like a string pulled too tight and forgotten. I lay down, not because I was tired, but because something told me to be small. I tucked my paws under me and rested my chin on the floor, letting my eyes stay on him without staring. I remembered how my humans sometimes did that, being close without touching. The room stayed quiet, too quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat, fast and young and alive. I wondered if he could hear it too. Time felt different there. Seconds stretched. I shifted my weight, the scrape of my fur against the floor sounding huge. Still nothing. The rescue's chest moved, but barely. I watched it carefully, the way I watched birds outside the window at home. I wanted him to move, but not too much. I wanted him to know I was there, but not feel chased by it. I pressed my chest closer to the floor, grounding myself the way instinct demanded. Excitement could wait. This wasn't about me being seen. It was about him not feeling hunted. I wondered what he had learned about rooms like this. I wondered if corners had ever been safe for him, or if they were just places where fear pressed in from fewer directions. I didn't have memories like that. My memories were warm hands, spilled water bowls, my own paws tripping over each other as I ran too fast. I carried those things inside me like sunlight, and for the first time I felt how heavy they might seem to someone who hadn't known them. I inched forward again, just enough that my paws crossed into the faint stripe of light on the floor. The sun didn't reach him. It stopped short, as if respecting a boundary it didn't understand. My fur warmed where the light touched it. I hoped he could see that nothing bad happened when I stepped into it. I stayed there, half in warmth, half in shadow, a bridge I didn't know how to explain. A sound escaped him then, not a bark, not a growl, something smaller, a breath that caught on its way out, like it had forgotten how to leave his chest smoothly. My ears flicked forward. I didn't move. I let the sound exist without answering it. Sometimes sounds just need space to finish being sounds. My human shifted again behind me, but didn't speak. I was grateful for that, even if I didn't know the word. Words felt too sharp for this moment. I felt a leash slacken completely. Trust, I realized dimly, could move through objects as easily as it moved through bodies. I lowered my head and rested my cheek on the floor. The concrete was cold, but I didn't mind. Puppies can sleep anywhere if they feel safe enough. I wondered if safety was something you could lend, the way you lend warmth by lying close. I wondered if it worked even when there was space between you. The rescue's eyes shifted again. This time they found my paws, not my face. Just my paws, splayed slightly relaxed. I held them still, resisting the urge to flex or fidget. I wanted him to see how open they were, how unprepared they were to defend or run. My body felt suddenly very small and very intentional. Time stretched again, but it didn't feel as heavy as before. The silence softened like fabric worn thin by touch. I felt a strange calm settle into my chest, deeper than sleep, deeper than play. It felt like purpose, though I wouldn't learn that word for a long time. Then slowly, impossibly, the rescue leaned forward. It was only an inch, maybe less. But it was the first movement that belonged to him alone, not a reaction to sound or fear. My breath hitched again. I stayed still. Every instinct screamed to meet him halfway, to close the distance, to celebrate. I ignored it all. I stayed where I was. His nose lifted slightly. I felt his breath brush the air between us, faint and uncertain. He smelled me now, milk, soap, the outside world. I wondered what I smelled like to him. I hoped it was something simple, something unthreatening, something alive. The moment didn't last long. He pulled back, retreating into himself again, but not as tightly as before. The corner didn't swallow him completely this time. Part of him stayed closer to the light, to me. My tail thumped once, soft and careful, before settling again. I didn't follow. I didn't retreat. I just stayed. And in staying, I felt something change inside me, too. I wasn't just a puppy in a new room anymore. I was a witness, a promise made without words. The room breathed a little easier then. So did I. Something was different when the air settled again. I could feel it the way you feel a storm shift direction before the rain arrives. The rescue was still in the corner, but the corner no longer owned all of him. All of him. A thread of his attention stretched outward now, thin and trembling, tied loosely to me. I didn't pull on it. I barely breathed. I let it exist the way fragile things need to exist, without pressure, without expectation. My legs cramped from being folded under me for so long. A small tremor passed through my paws, and I hated how loud it felt. I adjusted slowly, spreading my weight so the movement looked like rest, not nerves. My fur brushed the floor with a whisper. His eyes flicked up at the sound, then away again. That was new too. He noticed, even if he pretended not to. The room carried more texture now. I could hear the electricity humming in the lights, the faint drip of water somewhere behind the wall. Before, all of it had been swallowed by the weight of his silence. Now the sounds had space to exist. I wondered if he heard them too, or if his world was still narrowed to the echo of his own thoughts. I lifted my head just enough to look at him properly for the first time. I didn't rush my gaze. I let it travel slowly, respectfully. His body was thin, angles sharp where softness should have been. His fur lay flat, not relaxed, but held down by something deeper than gravity. There were places on him that smelled old wounds, old fear, old nights without sleep. My chest tightened with a feeling I didn't recognize yet, something heavier than empathy but warmer than fear. I did something risky then. I rolled slightly onto my side, exposing my belly to the cold floor. It wasn't play. It wasn't submission the way dogs sometimes offer it. It was instinct, raw and honest. I showed him the most unguarded part of me because my body believed it mattered. My paws curled loosely. My breath stayed slow. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then his eyes found me again. Not just my paws this time. My chest. My face. They didn't linger, but they didn't slide away immediately either. They hovered like hands unsure whether to touch. I felt a spark of excitement rise, sharp and bright. I swallowed it down, forcing myself to stay soft. Puppies are good at joy, but joy can overwhelm a place that's only just learning how to feel again. I let my tongue rest inside my mouth. I let my tail stay still. I let the moment breathe. His body shifted, a slow unfolding like something stiff being warmed by the sun. His back pressed less tightly into the wall. One shoulder eased forward. The movement was so small it could have been imagined, but I knew better. I had learned the language of almosts and maybes in this room. This was a word, spoken very quietly. A memory flickered through me then. Not an image, but a feeling. The first night in my human's home when I had cried because the dark was too big and the silence too strange. How I had eventually slept when a hand rested near me, not touching, just close enough to promise it could. I wondered if that was what I was doing now. Being a hand without hands. I rolled back onto my belly slowly and crawled forward just a breath's length. The light touched more of my fur now. Warmth spread across my back. I stayed there, half in brightness, half in shadow, and waited. My nose twitched as his scent grew stronger. He was closer. Not close, but closer than before. He made another sound, this one clearer. A low, uncertain whine that vibrated in his chest like it didn't know where to go. My ears tilted forward automatically, then relaxed again. I answered without sound, letting my eyes soften, letting my body stay open. The whine faded, but it left something behind, like a door left ajar. The rescue's paw moved. Just one. It slid forward an inch, nails scraping faintly against the floor. The sound cut through me like lightning. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. I let him take the space he needed without rushing to fill it. My heart pounded so hard I worried he could hear it, that it would scare him back into stillness. He paused, then shifted his weight again. His chest lifted higher now, breath deep. For the first time I could see the rhythm of it clearly. In and out, in and out. Alive. The realization settled over me like when I shifted, he watched. When I lay down, he exhaled a little deeper. One day, without thinking, I stretched. My paws extended forward, my back arching, my body doing what young bodies do. I caught myself halfway through, worried the movement might be too much. He just watched. That felt like permission. I lay down closer that day, not close enough to touch, just close enough that the space between us felt shared. The floor held our warmth now, two bodies existing side by side. I rested my head on my paws and closed my eyes, trusting him with my sleep the way I trusted my human. It was a risk. It felt right.